Hello everyone, Yan. So this is our module 3, local and global communication in multicultural setting. So this module 3 is our last module in prelims. So expect that I will be scheduling you when you will take your prelims exam. Yeah. Okay. So this module consists of two lessons. Okay. So lesson 1 is all about culturally sensitive and bias-free language. Okay. So when we say bias-free language, it is a language that is sensitive to people's sex, race, age, physical condition, and many other categories. So, bias free language does not discriminate and therefore includes all readers in a fair and friendly manner. Okay. So, to write in a culturally sensitive way means to be aware that cultural differences and similarities between people exist and that this should not be assigned a positive or negative value via words and description selected in writing. Yan. So, by using bias-free language, you are ensuring that your content or your writing does not exclude, demean, or offend groups in society. So, consciously avoiding bias in writing is important, as this kind of language can encode and enforce harmful messages about the superiority or inferiority of different people. So, when we say culturally sensitive language, it displays cultural sensitivity. It means that you are ensuring that your language avoids relying on unfounded assumptions or stereotypes of a given cultural group. So our world is more global than ever. So it is our imperative to make conscious choices around the terminology we use when referring to others. Okay. So next. Okay. So just as important as awareness of the existence of world Englishes is practicing cultural sensitivity. So here are some general principles to follow when referring to different groups or categories in terms of race and ethnicity. Okay. So, words that reinforce stereotypes and imply all people of a particular race or ethnic group are the same should be avoided. Okay. So, if race or ethnicity is used to describe a person, it has to be relevant to the information presented. Okay. So, ethnic and racial labels often change, and deciding which term is the correct one can be hard. Ayan. Uh, should we say ba African American or Black, Hispanic or Latino or Latina? American Indian or Native American? And is Asian the preferred term? Ayan. Okay. So, uh, as Halt and Hakin state, the best rule of thumb is to call people by whatever term they prefer, just as you should pronounce their personal name, however they want it pronounced. Ano? Okay. So, if you are unsure of what to use to describe a certain group of people, just ask the members of that group. Okay. Okay, so we have here an example. For example, although the assessment is positive in the sentence, naturally, the Asian students won the math contest. Okay. So the word naturally here reinforces the stereotype or generalization that all Asian students have superior aptitude in math. Okay. So another example. According to Katie Locker and Donna Kianzier, 2013, one should refer to a group by the term it prefers, which means some research is required to find about the acceptable and preferred terms. Ayan. For example, for a long time, Native American has been considered the politically correct term for the indigenous peoples of the Americans. Okay. Over the label Red Indian. Okay. So, but today, most Native American people prefer to be referred to by their specific nation or tribe. Yan. So we should be careful kung ano yung gusto nating i-pronounce sa pangalan natin. Syempre, ganun din yung gusto sa ating itawag in terms of race and ethnicity. Okay. So there have been shifts in the preference for the terms that Filipinos of Chinese ancestry used to describe their identity in the Philippine context. From Chino, naging Chinoy, na naging Filipino-Chinese. Okay. So, Chinese people preferred to be called Filipino-Chinese, na, of course, uh, half Filipino and Chinese, or may lahi lamang. Yan. So, how about insensitivity about their religion? Okay. So, for example, not all Arabs are Muslims. So, not all Indians are Buddhists. And not all Filipinos are Roman Catholics. So, it doesn't depend kung saan sila nakatira or kung anong race nila. Dahil hindi naman lahat ng Arabs talaga ay Muslim or lahat ng Pinoy ay Katoliko. So, katulad na lang dito here in the Philippines, there are a lot of different religions. So, you should be sensitive with generalizing Filipinos' religion. Okay. So, respect all cultures and peoples and religions by sensitivity to the uncritical use of biblical characterizations, such as the Jews or the Pharisees, that can perpetuate religious and ethnic stereotypes. Okay. So how about in gender and sexual orientation? To include all people in general references, one should favor gender-neutral words and phrases over gender-biased words. Yan. So for example, here in our PowerPoint, rather than a man-made, you could say manufactured or synthetic or artificial. Instead of layman's terms, one can use ordinary items. Okay. So what else? Okay. So in job titles or descriptions, neutral words should also be chosen over words with man and woman. For example, dati ang sanay natin is chairperson, ang sanay natin is chairman. So paano naman yung mga women? So ang unbiased term is chairperson. Instead of stewardess, you should say flight attendant. And instead of manpower, you should say labor. Okay. So avoid using masculine pronouns when the gender of the person is not known. Okay. So for example, using the word his, generalizing because you did not know the real gender of the person you are talking to. Okay. So this is a biased term. Each consultant has to submit his project proposal before the next meeting. Okay. So biased dun sa his. Okay. Unbiased. So paano magiging i-change into unbiased sentence? Each consultant has to submit his or her project proposal before the team meeting. Another one, all consultants have to submit their project proposals before the next meeting using of pronouns his, her, and their ano. So when you did not know this gender of the person, or if it is unknown, okay, not generally using the pronoun his. Yan. So another thing here in titles or the descriptions, anchorman. So dapat anchor. Businessman dapat business person, executive, manager, business owner, or retailer, and etc. How about in cleaning lady, girl, cleaning lady, cleaning girl, or maid? You should use house cleaner, housekeeper, cleaning person, yun, or office cleaner. How about in congressman? Wala nang congressman and congresswoman. Dapat we should use a representative, member of Congress, or legislator. So in the internet, there are lots of neutral words that you should say now, ano, because we are now practicing cultural sensitivity. Ayan. Okay. So avoid sexist terms like woman, lawyer, and male nurse. Instead, just use a lawyer or a nurse. Ayan. Okay. What else? Spokesman, ano? You should use spokesperson or representative, weatherman, weather reporter, weathercaster, or meteorologist. So we have a table here. Ayan. So these are some examples of alternative gender to neutral constructions. Okay. So this is a gender biased example. Each student should submit his term paper by Monday. So just like what I discussed earlier, ano? So his term paper. Okay. So first you should drop the pronouns, ano? Drop pronouns that signify the gender and restate the sentence. So what should be the restatement here? Each student should submit a term paper by Monday. Yan. So you drop the pronoun. How about the second one? Plural construction. Okay, so you will change it into plural. Students should submit their term papers by Monday. So students, then the plural pronoun, their. And you can replace the masculine or feminine pronoun with one or you. Ayan. So use of you. You should hand in your term paper by Monday. Ayan. Okay, next. Okay. So it is important to be sensitive to new attitudes about homosexual, transsexual, and transgender people. Ayan. For example, most gay people prefer the term gay because it is more clinical than homosexual. Ano? So homosexual as their label. So they prefer the term gay. So how about lesbian? So lesbian is currently the term preferred by gay women. So transgender people prefer to be referred to as the gender they identify as, not their birth gender. Ano. So kung ano yung pinapakita nila sa ating lipunan, ano. So ganun yung gusto nilang tawag sa kanila, ano. Okay. So in addition lang, ano, so happy Women's Month, ano. So this is very relevant, ano, in today's Women's Month. Ayan. Okay. So we should be gender sensitive, ano, when we are talking to someone. Okay. Next is Therefore, the following terms are preferred to make the meaning clear. So, lesbians, gay men, bisexual men, or women. Yan. So, the important thing to remember is to be sensitive, of course, clear and unbiased when describing any particular group of people. So, next, in terms of social class. Ayan. So, the American term white trash is a racial slur and a classist one that refers to white people, usually from the rural southern United States. So, they come from a lower social class, inside the white population. Okay. So, the rich people are sometimes preferred to be the derogatory terms preppy and yappy. So, this preppy and yappy connote not just wealth but arrogance. Okay. So, another example here is, okay, this is problematic when you call someone the homeless person or transient. You should say, or it is an alternative term to use a person experiencing homelessness. Okay. So the problematic terms, the homeless or the homeless person, implies criminality, and they are defined only by their housing status. Okay, so we should use person experiencing homelessness, which is constructed as people first language. Instead, identifies what the person is experiencing and not what they are. So another one is the poor or poverty-stricken person, a low-income person, ano? Okay, so ano yung alternative term for them? You should use a person experiencing poverty or person living at or below the poverty line. Okay. So the problematic terms are very broad, ano, and judgmental, and of course, generalizing and defining the person only by their social economic status or social class. Okay, so the alternatives, which are constructed as people first language, instead identify what the person is experiencing or has and not what they are. Another one is the rich. Ano? So we should call them the person with material wealth. Next. Okay. So here in the Philippines, ano, we are very familiar with the word konyo, jologs, or jejemons. So these are examples of from Philippine cultures as well. So the term konyo uh, is used to describe young people from the upper class. So those konyo Filipinos speak in a distinctive mix of English and Tagalog. So this connotes vanity and consciousness about social status. Ano? How about the term jologs? Okay. So the term jologs, perhaps replaced by the term jegemon, as used about an idiosyncratic spelling or writing style. So it's used to describe a person who looks poor and out of style. So we should not use this one, ano, in referring to other people na dahil porke hindi lang nakatrend or hindi nasa uso manamit, magsalita, no? Tatawagin na natin Jejemon or Jologs. Ayan. So in terms of age, ayan. When referring to a generic group, one should ask their subjects what wording they prefer. So do they wish to be called older person or senior citizens? Do they prefer the label youths, teenagers, or young people? So we should consider that before saying anything, ano, to them. Okay. So the very problematic word for aged person is the aged, the elderly or old person, senior or senior citizen. So what should be the alternative use for them? Older adult, older person, or person 65 years and older. Ayan. So the problematic term perpetuate the stereotype that older adults are less able in terms of their intellect, their physical ability, and emotionally, ano. So then other age groups, and then they are in a group separate from society. Yan. So how about person with disabilities? Ayan. So when referring to people with disabilities, the focus should be on the person, ano, not the condition, not the condition they are experiencing. So according to Arinto 2009. Okay. So this is gender, or this when you use disability, or when you term them based on their disability, so this should not be used. The blind student used a special keyboard during the exam. So we should think, or we should focus on the person himself or herself. Okay. The student who is visually impaired used a special keyboard during the exam. Okay. So another terms that we should not use is addict, blind person, handicapped, or physically challenged, mentally ill, crazy, normal people, healthy people, special needs, mentally challenged, mentally retarded, and wheelchair bound person. So those are problematic terms that they not really want you to term or prefer them. So what should be the alternative? Ano? Person with health condition, person with a substance abuse order, person who is blind, ayan. Or this one, person who is visually impaired, ayan. Person with a disability, person with mental illness. Okay. So those problematic terms na nabanggit ko kanina are negative terms, ano? So they imply restriction or are considered slurs that insult or belittle the person being described. So the alternatives, which are constructed as people first, or the focus should be on the person, uh, instead identify what the person is experiencing and what not what they are. Ano? Okay. Next, ayan. So another thing here, avoid hurtful expressions. Example, don't call them retards or mentally retarded. Instead, use people with mental retardation. How about the blind? Do not call them like that. So call them people with vision impairments. How about those people being treated for cancer? Don't call them cancer patients. Instead, use people being treated for cancer. And so that's end our lesson about cultural sensitivity, ano? Cultural sensitivity and bias-free language. So let's now move on to our last lesson in this module. It's all about varieties and registers of spoken and written language. Ayan. Okay. So many people think that these varieties, ano, are just incorrect ways of speaking, but they are not. They are just different, ano. So they are just unusual, especially when you did not study these different varieties and registers. So these varieties have their own ways of pronouncing words, their own special vocabulary, and even their own grammatical rules. Ayan. First, we have different kinds of language varieties. Pidgin, ano. So, pidgin is a new language develops when speakers of different languages need to communicate but don't share a common language. So, dun nabubuo yung pidgin. Kapag yung dalawang tao, they do not share a common language, of course, kailangan nila ng bridge, ano? A bridge or a language that will connect them to communicate to each other. Okay. So pidgin is a language that does not have any native speakers. So in other words, this pidgin uh, is used or for younger language, ano? So it is developed as means of communicating between two groups who do not speak the same language. No? So a pidgin is nobody's mother tongue and it is not a real language at all. So it has no elaborate grammar and it is very limited in what it can convey. And different people speak it differently. Okay. Still, for simple purposes. So it does work, and often everybody in the area learns to handle or understand their own pidgin. Okay. So the vocabulary of a pidgin comes mainly from one particular language called the lexifier. So when we say lexifier, it is the language that provides the basis for the majority of a pidgin or Creole language vocabulary or lexicon. Ano? So often this language is also a dominant or superstate language. Okay, next. So uh, before stable pidgin will emerge, so an early pre-pidgin is quite restricted in use and in terms of their variable in structure. So later on, stable pidgin develops its own grammatical rules, so which are quite different from the lexifier. Okay. So examples here are Nigerian pidgin and Bislama. So Bislama is spoken in Vanuatu. Ano? Okay. Next is ayan, another kind of language variety is Creole. Ano? So ano ba tong Creole na to? So when children start learning the pidgin as their first language and become the community's mother tongue, it is called a Creole. Okay. So in Philippine Creole Spanish, here in the Philippines, they are composed of main local varieties. So example of Creole is Ternateño. Okay. So this Ternateño is spoken mainly in the village of Ternate in Manila Bay. How about Caviteño? Of course, in the neighborhood of Cavite, Manila Bay, Sambuangueño, ano? Spoken in Zamboanga City, Mindanao, and known collectively as Chabacano. Okay. So this is the most extensive Spanish-based Creole language in existence now. Ayan. Okay. So what is the difference between a Pidgin and a Creole? Okay. So the difference of them is pidgins are learned as a second language in order to facilitate communication, while Creoles are spoken as first languages, and Creoles have more extensive vocabularies than pidgin languages and more complex grammatical structures. So, itong pidgin is hindi pa siya gaanong pulido, hindi gaanong buo than Creole. Okay. Next, Ayan, like a pidgin, a Creole is a distinct language that has taken most of its vocabulary from another language, the lexifier, but has its own unique grammatical rules. So a Creole is not restricted in use and is like any other languages in its full range of functions. Okay, so examples of Creole are Gala, Jamaican Creole, and Hawaii Creole English. Okay, so note that the words pidgin and Creole are technical terms used by linguists and not necessarily by speakers of the language. For example, speakers of Jamaican Creole call their language patois from patois, and speakers of Hawaii Creole English call theirs pidgins. Okay. Next one is regional dialect. So a regional dialect is not a distinct language, but a variety of languages spoken in a particular area of a country. So we have here in the Philippines 8 major dialects spoken by majority of the Filipinos. Okay, so first is Tagalog, ayan. Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon or Ilonggo, Bicolano, Waray, Pampango, and Pangasinense. So some examples are Hillbilly English from the Appalachians in the USA and Geordie from the Newcastle upon Tyne in the UK. Okay, next. How about minority dialect? Okay. Sometimes members of a particular minority ethnic group have their own variety, which they use as a marker of identity. Okay. So this minority dialect is a marker of identity, usually alongside a standard variety. This is called a minority dialect. So examples are African American Vernacular English in USA, London Jamaican in Britain, and Aboriginal English in Australia. Next is indigenized variety. So indigenized varieties are spoken mainly as second languages in ex-colonies with multilingual populations. Okay. So the differences from the standard variety may be linked to English proficiency or may be part of a range of varieties used to express identity. So for example, Singlish is spoken in Singapore. Okay. So this Singlish is very different from standard English and many other English varieties used in India. Okay. Next. Okay, so how about a language register? Yan. So this is defined as how a speaker uses language differently in different circumstances. Okay, so think about the words you choose, your tone of voice, even your body language. Ano? So lahat yun is part of a language register. So you probably behave very differently chatting with a friend than you would do at a formal dinner party or during a job interview. So these variations in formality, also called stylistic variation, are known as registers in linguistics. So there are four factors in language in considering a register or stylistic variation. So these factors are social occasion, context, purpose, and who will be your audience. Okay. So imagine that you are going or you are going to be introduced to a very important person who you have never met. Okay. Maybe it is the Queen of England. Ano? Okay. So when you meet her, would you say, "Hey dude, what's up?" Ano? Probably not, of course. So you would say something more formal, such as, "It's an honor to meet you, Your Highness." Ayan. Dahil Queen of England ang kausap, di ba? Okay, next. In addition, on the other hand, you wouldn't call your best friend, ano, In contradiction naman ito, His Royal Highness. Instead, you would be fine using the informal address dude, ano, or any term na tinatawag nyo, bilang magkaibigan. Ayan. Okay. So, in language register, there are types of linguistic registers. First is frozen. Ayan. So, frozen, or also termed as static register, because it refers to historic language or communication intended to remain unchanged. Okay, so it is unchanged like a constitution or prayer. So for examples, in the Bible, okay, so hindi naman talaga binabago in your church, Okay. So the United States Constitution. So wag na tayo lumayo in our Constitution, Philippine Constitution. The Bhagavad Gita, or in Romeo and Juliet. Ayan. Okay. So this frozen register or static register is use of language. The use of language is fixed and static. Ayan. So another examples are national pledge or national anthem, okay, or the school creeds, the Lord's Prayer, okay. So in essence, it is a language that does not require any feedback. Ayan. For example, all visitors are invited to proceed upstairs immediately. So palagi ang naririnig. Okay. And hindi nababago. How about formal? Ayan. So, katulad nung kanina, your Royal Highness, it's a formal language. Okay. So, this formal register is less rigid but still constrained. The formal register is used in professional, academic, or legal settings where communication is expected to be respectful, uninterrupted, and constrained. Okay. So slang is never used, and constructions are rare. Okay. So when we say formal, it is used in official or ceremonial settings. For example, in court, in business meetings, okay, in ceremony, in an interview, or in a classroom. Okay. So the language used in this setting is rigid and has a set or agreed upon vocabulary that is well documented. So in other words, the language used is often of a standard variety. Another examples here in our module: a TED Talk or a business presentation, the Encyclopedia Britannica, Gray's Anatomy by Henry Gray. Okay. Next is consultative. People often use this register when speaking with someone who has specialized knowledge or offers advice. Okay. So the tone is often respectful. So you will use courtesy titles, but maybe more casual if the relationship is long-standing or friendly. So for example, a family doctor. Okay. So this consultative suggest by the word consult. So it also describes the language used between a superior and a subordinate. Okay. So in both cases, one person, the superior, is more knowledgeable and having greater expertise than the other person. Okay. Who is the beneficiary of the knowledge or the expertise of the other person. Okay. So the language dynamism between lawyer and client. So lawyer is more knowledgeable, and then yung subordinate is the client. Doctor and patient. Employer to employee. And of course, this one, what are we doing now? Consultative, teacher to student. So, our examples of this registers. So, another is the local TV news broadcast, an annual physical, or a service provider like a plumber. Next, casual. Okay. So, casual or informal, this is the register people use with friends, close acquaintances, and coworkers and family. So it's probably the one you think of when you consider how you talk with other people, often in a group setting. So slang, contractions, and vernacular grammar are common, and people may also use expletives or of color language in some settings. For example, you are in a birthday party or a backyard barbecue with your family, with your friends. Ayan. Okay, how about the last one, intimate. Ayan, from the word itself, intimate. Linguists say this register is reserved for special occasions, usually between two people and often in private place. Ano? So an example in an intimate language may be something as simple as an inside joke between two college friends or a word whispered in a lover's ear. Ayan. So intimate can be with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or with your best friend. Ano? Okay. So ngumiti ka pa lang, yung gesture nyo pa lang na pagngiti is naintindihan nyo na yung isa't isa. Okay. So, example of terms used in intimate is baby, babe, your term of endearments, ano? Okay. And slangs or expressions whose meaning is shared between the two of you is used here, ano? Okay. So, it is important, of course, in generalization, it is important to understand the differences between these registers. This formal or static, consultative, intimate, and frozen, ano pa ba? Ayan, informal or casual. Okay. So you can use the right language that is appropriate for a particular situation. So if your register is too high, you may come across snobby, pretentious, or arrogant. Ano? So if your register is too low naman, you can come across as being inappropriate, informal, or too friendly. Kaya nga, there are factors to consider. So ano ba yung okasyon, what is your purpose, what is your context, or sino yung audience na kinakausap mo. So it depends upon those factors. Okay. So language registers are used in all forms of communication, including verbal and non-verbal. So it is important to use appropriate varieties of language in a certain communication context in order for us to determine the level of formality. Ayan. Okay? Thank you for listening. Ayan. And so this will be our last module in prelims. Ayan.